It is truly a landmark trial date this Tuesday. 45 people, including some prominent faces of Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement, have been sentenced. For example, Benny Tai, the former law professor of Hong Kong University, just received 10 years behind bars. He had organised primaries for legislative elections, and for that, prosecutors described him as the mastermind behind a potential constitutional crisis. Judges described his attempts at organising this election as a constitutional weapon of mass destruction. Now, 10 years is the harshest sentence we've seen this Tuesday. Others received less, such as Joshua Wong. You might remember him as the student leader. He was one of the many faces of the umbrella movement back in 2014. He's already been in jail for a number of offences, for example, after he had commemorated the Tiananmen massacre or for organising a protest outside a Hong Kong police station. For this court case, he had pleaded guilty to subversion and was sentenced to 4.5 years behind bars. The controversial national security law has already been used in around 300 cases so far. This year, Hong Kong lawmakers cranked it up even more by adding Article 23, where we see the terms treason and secession, with very little to properly define these said terms. Rights groups say that the use of this type of law against political opponents, against journalists, against academics illustrate the erosion of rule of law in Hong Kong. The Chinese territory has long been more free than the rest of the continent, but today finds itself with less and less freedoms, and it looks more and more like the rest of China. For example, in September, a man was sentenced to 14 years behind bars for wearing a T-shirt that had a slogan, a famous protest slogan on it, Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times. And before I leave you, there are also more key court dates coming up this week. On Wednesday, British citizen and media mogul Yena Lee is set to appear in court. He's been in jail since December 2020 and faces life in prison for alleged sedition and collusion with foreign forces.